Was poppin', was poppin', was poppin'. Welcome to Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And on this episode, we're going to be talking about the new features that Instagram just dropped. YouTube CEO just stepping down. We got a new creator of the week. Of course, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl, but from a business side. And then, is there such thing as having too much control in your business? Moose, how are we feeling about this episode?
Man, 3 million followers gained in 48 hours. I want to talk about that. I'm excited for this.
You said too much already. Let's just get into this intro. Said too much.
All right, this guy.
2 kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And of course, this episode is powered by ECAMM Live, the #1 all-in-one platform that allows you to not only stream to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, like all of them, but allows you to do pre-recorded videos as well, to create a podcast, to create courses, the whole 9, video isolation, audio isolation, adding text with a push of a button. Everything you could do with ECAMM Live, and we're giving 14 days for free. Okay, just go to www.nickyandmoose.com/ECAMM. That's ECAMM to get your 14-day free trial.
Hello.
Yeah. It's like a hit or miss sometimes. Hit or miss sometimes. Anyways, Moose, how are we feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling really good. Still going strong with my early rising. I'm not going front.
Okay.
New Year vibe has yet to fade. We're gonna keep this thing going because I shared something recently that said 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. So I'm like, nah, that ain't gonna be me. Not gonna be my number.
Okay.
So what is this? February 18th, the time that we're recording this, still going strong. So last night I stayed up late yesterday, which is not normal for me because sometimes we record the podcast a little too late, and I'll be like yawning and trying to play it off. It's like, oh no, I'm just stretching my mouth. I'm not yawning. I'm awake.
Not yawning. My eyes are not droopy. No, I don't know what you're talking about. My eyes are not droopy.
I'd be trying to play it off big time. But no, yesterday I was up late. I stayed up till 2. And then, so I went to bed. I was like, okay, listen, I'm going to go to bed. And the Saturday, I don't have no calls this morning. I'm going to go to bed, no alarm clock. I'm going to chill, sleep in, and we're good. 6:47 on the dot. I was like, waking up, I'm like, oh man. And surprisingly, I stayed up. So it was like only 4 hours and some change sleep, which I'm not proud of. I'm not promoting no sleep, but I'm just saying I think I'm getting to a point where, you start waking up at the same time that your body just wakes up automatically. So that's kind of my update on my New Year's resolution on February 18th. Thanks for listening, y'all. Thank you for asking, Nicky. Appreciate it.
Listen. It's all about you. It's all about you. Well, shout out to me for not making that into a New Year's resolution, because I don't believe in that.
They said about that.
Because I've been battling, okay? Let me explain my battle with this early riser situation. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not still waking up early. Mm-hmm. However, my brain does not start working till 1 p.m. So I could wake up, right? My body's like, yeah, let's do the meditation. Let's do the prayer. Let's do the workout. Let's do everything that you need. Let's watch the interview, all that great stuff. But work-wise, not happening.
Can't see you.
So I've been really, and plus I still don't go bed early. I really don't. I'd
Yeah.
like, it's hard for me to like shut off my creative mind. So shout out to one of my followers, right? Who actually sent me something that I will read from my phone, right? And probably Isaiah will pass this on, but you can see it says meet the Night Owl CEO rejecting the 5 a.m. club. Now, granted, I didn't say I would wake up at 5 a.m. But my goal was to wake up like 6:30. You know what I mean? Okay,
Respectful.
yeah, no, it's not
Respectful.
happening, right? So, according to this, it says, contrary to popular belief, you can still be successful and hit the snooze on your alarm, okay? Fortune spoke to over a dozen night owl executives who revealed how they're making their late sleeping patterns work with their careers. Night owl CEOs are not working from noon onward to make up their some big word that I can't pronounce. Yep, biology. Wow, I can pronounce that. Never mind.
You can do that. Yeah,
Yeah, I can do that. They're simply putting in extra hours to be able to work when they're most productive. It's a trade-off. In the same way an early riser uses the stillness before everyone awakes to put in extra hours, the night owls are trading in their evening time to escape the workplace chatter and connect with creative tasks while everyone else is unwinding. So, I say that, right? Because is it that I don't want to speak for all creators, but some of the creators that I know,
A lot of them, yeah.
it like sparks up at night. Like I'll take care of tasks during the day, but at night, that's when I'm like, boom, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. So now I have to find a happy medium, right? Because my real objective of doing this early situation was because my girl was like, I can't stay up with you. I said, that's fair. But I can't wake up with you because we don't even talk. We're not even
I'm
talking.
awake, but,
right. We're not even talking. And 1 p.m. is when my mind is like, hello, we're back. Because I've done it so long. So now
Yeah.
the agreement is to try to go to sleep by 12 and have my mind running at 12. We're going to try. We're going to see how that works. I'm still going to wake up earlier than 9. But that's the only promising situation. Earlier than 9.
I think I don't see you as a procrastinator.
No.
Like you're not somebody. It's not like you're getting started with the day late because you're procrastinating. There's still things getting done. So I think it works, to be honest with you, whichever way you spin it, because every story that you've heard about most musicians, it's them going to the recording studio at like 12, 1 a.m. that is.
Besides
so
Eminem.
it's like, yeah, my boy has the 9 to 5 boy, but
yes.
So it makes sense. I can see you flipping it. I can see it.
We're trying over here. It's a little update of our lives. We may have to go back to Night Owl. But anyways, let's get into this episode. And of course, we're going to start with What's Poppin', okay? And What's Poppin', this segment is sponsored by Deeper Than the Brand, the #1 content branding community that shows you how to confidently and authentically build a brand, grow social media presence, and build digital wealth. Go to deeperthanthebrand.com. Now, Instagram just dropped a new feature called Channels. It's a broadcast chat. Now, this was something that at first, if you had enabled IG subscriptions, you had this ability to have one-way communication with your followers. And this is really good for like updates, launches, events, that whole 9. But now they saw the success of it from an IG subscription vibe, and they're saying, you know what, we're going to do this for the public. So Adam, the head of Instagram, announced it this past week, right? Or whenever you listen to this, like the second, what are we, the second, third week of February? Something around there,
Mhm.
right? And saying that they're going to release this for a small group of creators and there is a waiting list. Funny enough, the waiting list is full.
Wow.
Yeah, the waiting list is full. However, um, this is a really dope way to stay connected and build community right on Instagram. So I'm instantly thinking about what are some ideas that we can do when we do get this feature of how this could help our followers, how could it could help connect with our followers on a deeper level. So I'm always going to think of the podcast first, but for anybody who has some type of content, right? Building a podcast community or for whatever you do, right? And that's more of like dropping updates on the episodes, doing some behind the scenes, giving first dibs on maybe some merch. That's one of the ideas that I had. Another one is launches. If you are about to drop something, can you bring in people in a small group, this broadcast channel, and tell them, show them behind the scenes, sneak peeks, when it's going to launch, then drop it for them first so they can have first dibs, get you know, feedback from a poll standpoint, because you can do polls in there. You can do polls, you can do GIFs, you can send videos, you can send pictures, right? So that whole nine, just behind the scenes situations with yourself, right? You are the brand. So some people just want to get uh, a deeper look into what you're doing. And some people will say, well, that's stories. Well, you could still create a broadcast channel that is even just for those people who you know are really invested in you. And then brand announcements, right? You just look, if you rock with Moose, he could put you in his Moose broadcast channel. And anytime he's in your city, anytime he is dropping a new one-on-one program, whatever it is, something more about the flight assessment, he could drop it in that particular channel. So it brings, if we look at Instagram, they said one of the things they wanted to focus on was direct messaging and having a deeper connection with community. This is their way of doing that. And I think it's a good look. I'm interested to see when it's going to roll out to everybody, especially since the waiting list is already full. But this is another move. We saw earlier that they had done Instagram notes where in the DM section, there is like a way you can add your status, right? Which brings in deeper conversations for individuals to DM you. So even though this is a one-way communication, only you can only talk to them and they can't talk to you, I think this is a really cool way to have some form of community on Instagram when normally that's not really the case and you have to take them to a Facebook group, Mighty Network, Circle, Discord, any of those other platforms. And this creates it a more in-app experience for them. So, yeah, that's that.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Very
Are you going to use it?
Yeah. I usually wait for you to master it and say like your final call before I
That's
actually
fair.
do it. Yeah.
Well, I
anything
have
social
it
media.
on. I have it for my subscribers. Shout out to my IG subscribers, right? I created one for AI tools and just polling them what they want to know. Here's some of the new ones. So I like it.
That's cool.
My only concern is how does, for those people who do have it on subscriptions, now that it's going to be public, how is that going to be different? So yeah, that's the only thing I have.
It's not as exclusive in a sense when everyone has it.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I love it. I love it. Well, hey, stepping into the business corner, man, I think this is very, very interesting news. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says that she's stepping down after a 9-year run. Now, a very, very interesting move, right? She was actually the 16th employee to join the company. And when the founders started the company, they started it in her parents' garage. So this is someone who's been with the company for a long time. I think 25 years. She's worked on many different projects and launched new initiatives. But when she stepped in as CEO of YouTube, one of the things that she has always talked about, although they didn't always get it right, she said that she was one of the people, or at least it was said that she was one of the people that was always advocating for creators. Now, of course, with her stepping down, you have to wonder, well, who's going to take her place? So in her place steps in Neil Mohan, who is the chief product officer. Now, I think you're going to be really excited about this, Nix, because this is the person who's behind YouTube Shorts. He's the one behind YouTube Plus. And a lot of the new innovations that have been coming out are all his doing in a lot of different ways. So typically when a new CEO leaves, you're always a little iffy about, well, who's coming in? Is there someone that's coming in from the outside? Is it just someone who has no experience? But he's been with the company for quite some time too. Google got him in their leadership team once they acquired a different company. So I think that we're going to see some really interesting things happening on the platform now that he's head of creative and someone who has some deep insight around product launches and innovation. So my favorite CEOs are operators, because operators typically are people who are in the business. They have in-depth knowledge around how to move the needle on a day-to-day or how to really keep things going. And so when they're giving the decision-making power or the ability to step into a visionary role and start saying, all right, hey, I think we need to go here. I think we need to go there. It can get really interesting. So very early, this is just literally just happened 3 days ago from the time in which we're recording this. So very fresh, but stay tuned to YouTube, especially as a new CEO steps in and starts to make some moves for what that will mean for both your brand, your business, creators on the platform. I think it's going to get really interesting in the next couple of months.
Well, sheesh, I didn't know that. Look at that. I learned something new on our own podcast. Moose learned something new on our podcast. But hopefully you guys learned something, because
most important.
Yeah, because I mean, I really want to get a hold of YouTube. YouTube has been very interesting for us. Shout out to our YouTube viewers. Of course, shout out to all our audio listeners. I don't want to leave y'all out, but YouTube is definitely an interesting space. Definitely interesting space, and we're still trying to figure it out. But for those who rock with us, thank you. And hopefully this new CEO can love on us a little bit.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully.
Come on, Neil. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have a new creator of the week, and it's actually a couple, right? It's actually a couple. Codie and Tommy Oliver, the creators, founders of Black Love. It's Black History Month. And when I say this account, well, I look at it on Instagram, right? But it's TikTok, YouTube, everywhere, every social media platform, they have a Black Love account. And it is just the positive vibes of marriages, couples, the ups and downs of it, the inside works of it. And it's so refreshing to see. And Codie and Tommy are of course, it started with a docuseries, right? I believe like in 2017, right? Where they got all these different couples just really going and being transparent about, marriages and just being in love, especially Black love. And I found the interview of like why they started it. So let's look into that.
something that had been weighing on me. The media was suggesting there was a Black marriage crisis, and going so far as to say Black women are the least desirable of all women. Once that's said in the media, you feel like, oh shoot, well, what's the point, right? You know, the stats say, but I felt like the Obamas were celebrated for being this loving, beautiful Black couple. We just need to see it more, right? So I mentioned it to him. He loved the idea, immediately was like, let's do it.
And so we always say, you know, be the change that you want to see. They're exactly doing that, and we appreciate you. So go follow the Black Love account. I follow it on Instagram. It's on TikTok and YouTube. They are the couple is amazing. Shout out to Codie because I follow Codie and she follows me. But just the account overall. Glenn was on there. Glenn's doing a men's round table on that. A lot of your favorite influencers are on there, spreading their truth about Black love, and it's amazing to see. So, shout out to them. They are the creator of the week. But you know, it's time. It's time to talk about the Super Bowl, and we gave it a week. We wanted the numbers to come in. Okay, we wanted the numbers to come in, but first and foremost, Moose, did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did. I did, and a great game, start to finish. I'm not rooting for. I wasn't rooting for either the Chiefs or the Eagles, but really, really good game. Came down to the wire, and then the halftime show, of course, was part of the blueprint now. So of course, I'm glad I can bring this in now. So yeah.
So let's talk about this blueprint, or what we call the Super Bowl effect. Now, there has been a big stink about Rihanna not getting paid for doing the Super Bowl, right? People had back and forth feedback about it, especially when numbers came out as far as Apple paying the NFL about $250 million over the next 5 years for the halftime show, right? But performers are not getting paid. Yet, this isn't something new. We covered it last year with Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent. This is something that was a conversation back then, too. And Dr. Dre actually paid millions for his set. The Weeknd also reported paying $7 million for his set when he performed. Now you have people like Prince, Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake, J-Lo, everybody that you've seen on the Super Bowl not getting paid. However, now that the numbers are in, we got to talk about, what does that really do? Why are people not getting paid and they are okay with it? Well, it's called exposure. And if we could look at these numbers for my audio listeners, I'm gonna read it out to you. But the impact, now we're talking about Rihanna, because this is what happened this year. The impact of Rihanna's Super Bowl performance, #1 most streamed artist globally. 118.7 million views, 5 million more than the Super Bowl in itself, okay? 17 songs on the top 40 on Spotify, gained 3 million Instagram followers. Searches of Fenty Beauty are up 833%. The Super Bowl effect is real. And so where most would grow, like, that's why it was such a big stink as far as, yo, how is Rihanna not getting paid? What are you talking about? Sales in Fenty went up. Her streaming went up. Her brand awareness went up. So I actually brought this to the podcast because me and Moose are known for this lovely debate, and not in an ugly way, but we definitely don't see eye to eye with mastering the art of leverage, right? And do we do things for exposure? Do we do things for the look and the possibility and the opportunity? Or do we get the security? Do we get a guarantee of something, right? So, Musa, I would love your take on the Super Bowl effect, how it's helped pass people, and your views on leverage.
Yeah. I mean, looking at Rihanna, and Rihanna played it really well, right? I think especially as artists become more and more aware and educated of business, especially someone like her, she's running her own company, her beauty line, Fenty. So really, really good to see what she did there, because I don't know if you noticed, but at one of the transitions during the halftime show, she pulls she fixes her makeup, right?
Absolutely.
And then almost immediately after, she launches a lipstick that is shaped, or it has like the football field design. And so phenomenal. I mean, that's stuff that is thought out and really strategically well positioned. So I love to see that happen on a grand scale. So that was really cool. And of course, the numbers, you can't debate those numbers. You're talking about 833%. You know what I was thinking, and I actually was going to ask you this. What do you think is the value of $3 million followers, especially to someone like Rihanna? You know, because the average person, let's say they don't have the skill set or maybe the bandwidth to fulfill 3 million followers if their account was to increase by that much overnight.
Right.
But when you think of Rihanna and everything that she's a part of, having 3 million more people giving their attention to her, what do you think that might, how do you think that might translate in terms of growth from, I don't know, what kind of growth would you expect with 3 million more people?
I think, for one, that's the brand awareness, right? So something that will last long, because you think about it with the searches for Fenty Beauty, where it went up like 800% or something, right? But that's good for that time frame, where the 3 million, they're there. They're majority of them, maybe some may drop off once they realize that Rihanna doesn't post as much as she should or anything like that. But most of them are there, and she could now cater to them to more Fenty stuff. If she does, a docuseries, which we'll get into that, more about her, magazine coverage, just more about her that will then convert into sales. So the increase in followers is a long game play that, she can now cater to, whereas, the streams are going to be good for the next couple of weeks. The searches are going to be up for the next couple of weeks. I think that's going to be great. But the gold is how did they stay, which is the followers. What was crazy, one of my followers on Instagram pointed out that they didn't have an email capture on the Fenty page. So though searches went up, there was no way to grasp that audience.
Right.
That's what. I couldn't confirm. So if somebody goes, nah, what it did, that got the pop up. They may have switched it now.
Right.
But supposedly on Super Bowl day, they didn't. And so that's why I believe the increase in the followers is good, because at least, even though we can't truly say we own that following count, we can at least cater to those people at that moment.
Yeah. No, that part is powerful, because you really got to think about the long-term effect of that, like you mentioned. And I was like, I don't know that I can even put a dollar figure to it, because I think just Fenty alone is worth somewhere north of $2 billion or something like that. So it's a billion with a B too. So that's major. But not to avoid the question, but I think for me, the reason why, and I'm not against exposure or doing things for, especially when it makes sense, right? But I just don't like the idea of walking into something where you have to constantly fight and make room to get what you deserve. And so in a case like this, like I said, I think the financial knowledge and the business savviness of especially mega stars like today, when you think of someone like a Jay-Z or Rihanna who run billion-dollar empires of their own, you don't get there by luck. You have great teams with you. You have a great set of knowledge that you can apply into the same space. Now, some people may say, well, hey, but there's so much banking on that one day. You got 13 minutes to capitalize on every second and every pair of eyeballs that are on you during that time. You got to think this thing through, right? It's only 13 minutes. And so I can see why some people turn it down. I don't know, especially when you start to look at the history of this, where I don't know that many other megastars are going to turn it down. Like, for example, I can only imagine what Drake would do at a Super Bowl. I mean, that would be out of control.
I wonder if he already turned it down. To sit here and say that Drake didn't get invited,
that would be bananas.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Now, maybe because you look at the time span that Rihanna got asked. Look at the time span that when J-Lo came. It's not like, not saying Rihanna's not at her prime, but she's not active. Right. Not to say J-Lo and Justin Timberlake and, Michael Jackson, they weren't at the, but I think it passes a little bit on the, maybe Drake is still too hot. I don't know.
Could be. That's a good point though. You're right. Because most of them are, it's like, even with Bruno Mars, it's usually right after they peak. It's like on the other side of the mountain that they start making those invitations. But I'm just saying, when you think of it, when you think of those that amount of people watching you, and you see the stats that go along with it, it's hard to deny. In standard business practice, of course, as it relates to this whole leverage situation, I still gotta hold my position against it, because I'm just like, man, can we not just be on the same page from the front? Like, let's just talk it out. Let's just be clear with the X's and O's. So, but Super Bowl effect, yeah, no, I can't doubt it. I gotta go on your bandwagon with the leverage boy for the Super Bowl, because that's bonkers.
Yeah,
that's bonkers.
For those who don't know, I am big on leverage because I believe wholeheartedly on being able to show out on the opportunity. Like, there's a lesson and there is an opportunity with everything that comes when it comes to a leverage play, right? Now, I did want to bring in maybe a little bit of sense of security that Moose would like as far as the Rihanna situation, because she did make a multimillionaire, she's a billionaire, but multi-million deal with Apple to do a docuseries about the whole Super Bowl situation. Now, I think there are, of course, some plays that can be giving you that security after you accept the invitation, right? Where, some people, we saw with the Beyonce and the Coachella situation. I'll get paid less, but I need all rights to it because I'm going to be doing Netflix. I'm going to be doing all these, like, I need to have ownership of that, right? So when we are doing these leverage plays, how can we secure what we thought what we were worth? And if you know by being on this stage, being part of this partnership, being part of this, whatever the collaboration is, right? If you know that this is going to open up some doors, get you some eyes, how do we take advantage of, okay, I'm going to give you less, or I'm going to do this for free, But while I'm doing it, what can I secure that will not necessarily take me away from it, because it doesn't take her away from that focus. But what can I do that also creates an extra bag for me that I'm doing simultaneously, and it builds that security. And I think that part is what needs to be more mastered than necessarily putting all your chips in that one bag of, I'm going to be on this stage, I'm going to be in this collaboration, and I'm going to do it all and watch the opportunities come to me. No, you still have to be the creator of your own opportunities as well with this potential opportunity, you know?
That's so good. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's so good. It unfortunately in the past, everyone benefits but the artist. And so now that the artist is looking after their own interest and has more control to that extent, they're looking at the ways in which they can capitalize on revenue or income, even in means outside of the main stage or those main 13 minutes. Because you're right, when you think about how much work and effort goes into it, like you just mentioned, The Weeknd, $7 million just to prep for the stage. That's not to say everything else. I mean, with I don't even want to begin to name it. It's a lot of money that I'm sure that goes into it. No, I was going to say, just like the choreographers, the backup dancers, like the band, that's beyond the stage. You know, like there's more that go into it, other people that you got to pay to do that. And so I'm just saying that is a tremendous amount of money that gets invested. And so if we can begin to think about, I'm saying we as if the podcast is about to, I don't know, sponsor the Superbowl somehow.
Come on.
Some craziness, but it's true. It's like you got to think of ways to maximize your profits and your revenue outside of what the main attraction is, because there usually is more than one way. It's almost in a way of, capitalizing on the behind the scenes. And we look at documentaries like The Last Dance, and I know The Captain with Derek Jeter, there's supposedly one that's supposed to be coming out with Kobe Bryant as well that was done the same way. And those actually make you fall in love more with the star person than what you saw them do in the real performance, because you feel more of a greater connection. So I think even deals like that end up netting a greater ROI than what we see right now from a performance itself, especially when you think the long haul.
Yeah, and I think of instantly like service-based situations, because that's harder sometimes to think about the leverage situation, because you'll either give a huge discount or do things for free for a certain company or a certain individual. Now, if we're looking at the Rihanna blueprint of, okay, well, let me secure something while I'm doing it, doing the behind the scenes, how does one service brand do the same thing? And I instantly think about Damien, right? So Damien just recently worked with ET about the UOU summit, right? So instead of when we're thinking about leverage and we're talking about, well, let me think about testimonials and that whole nine, I'm like, did you document, in which he did, by the way, but did you document this whole thing? Can you make it into a series that is now living on YouTube, right? Clipped up to be on the social media platforms. So not only does it attract future clients, right? But also you can monetize that content at the same time. So I'm thinking just clearly from a lower standpoint, not Apple multi-millions situation, but what keeps us still in the game focused? Because what a lot of, let's say, service-based situation, they think the leverage is getting clients based off the person's name or the company's name, but then it takes you away from what you were already doing. Because some people, 9 out of 10 times, and there are outliers. I'm not saying anything or downplaying nobody, but 9 out of 10 times when we do things for free or for a discounted rate, when the influx of clients come in based off what we do, some of us are not ready.
That's right.
And so when we go and we're now catering to these different demands, it takes away from what I call home, right?
Mhm.
And in which you can hurt that relationship. And so you leveraged it, but you weren't really ready for it. And so that's where it gets a little hard with the leverage. It is now more of how can I, looking at the Rihanna makes me think a little bit different as how can I focus on the main thing, focus on home, while simultaneously making a bag, doing the same thing, just documenting, doing the same thing, maybe creating something that will not only help home, but help the masses, but it's made for that. And then it's a subscription situation for everybody else. Things like these types of different ideas you look at mastering this whole leverage situation, and there's different creative ways to do it. Let's look at what didn't work, what did work. But at the end of the day, how do we get paid what our worth is in any opportunity, whether it's free or not?
You know what's so cool? I just thought about this. I think that everyone listening to this podcast who has a brand or business, you should take on the exercise or the challenge of how would you prepare if you were performing at the Super Bowl halftime show and you're going to have all those eyes on your business and your brand. Like just think of your current product line or the offers that you have available and start to strategically think, what would you do? Because quite honestly, you can get a marketing campaign. You can create your own Super Bowl. You don't need to be at the Super Bowl to, benefit from that type of strategy. You can just think about like, hey, if my business was the halftime performance at the Super Bowl, what strategy would I use to maximize that attention? What would I do? Right. And I think that's a nice little workshop exercise activity that somebody should run through and just think about that, because there is a lot of different ways secretly hidden under that one 13-minute performance that a lot of eyes are captured on. But with those numbers, man, that could be another billion alone. Quite honestly, I didn't want to put a number to it because I there's no way to tell. But when you can fulfill at that scale, you could probably add another billion.
Well, she already guaranteed. Well, see, what I like about this is because now, and I don't know how many people paid attention to it. So she was like, she hasn't performed in 7 years. And she hasn't performed in 7 years, had a kid, cute baby boy. And now the question of, is she going to do music again? What's happening with okay, now she's pregnant again. Now all eyes are back on her. This could have been a very perfect rollout for, like you say, billions, right? Because now, not only do you have the docuseries, but now people are going to see, okay, are you dropping music again? She kind of hinted, yes, right? I'm in a whole new, I love challenges, cool, right? She's doing covers. I believe she did Vogue, don't quote me. She did another cover right after, and it came out right after the Super Bowl, expressing, about her pregnancy and how it feels to be a mother now. And so now people are invested and are back at looking at Rihanna's journey that were more than just Rihanna Navy. Okay. For those who don't know, that's her community, right? More than that. So now the world is looking at what Rihanna is about to do next. The world, not just her community, the world is now, she's back. we got Rihanna. What better way to come back than the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that she did it on her own time too. You know, it's one thing to feel forced and worry about, oh my God, if I don't do this, I'm gonna miss this opportunity. And look, yes, you have to take advantages of opportunities when they present themselves to you. But some people do have, they reach a status or a class where they can decide when they say yes and when they say no. And it seems that she's doing it at a time where she can at least go and do that interview on, with Apple Music and at least show face and actually do almost a complete press run and completely maximize or take advantage of all of the attention that's coming, versus you do it, you're not really ready, you go back into hiding, and it's not worth it. And you don't come back a second time for the Super Bowl. There's nobody who's performed, and I gotta check that. I want to say I'm pretty confident about it, but I don't know that anyone's ever performed at the Super Bowl halftime show twice. It's like you're one and done. You got one opportunity for that. So that's a different experience.
Well, look, Rihanna showed us some new ways. It's appreciated that the Super Bowl effect, a really huge Super Bowl effect, but we've talked about those different effects even with verses. Yeah, we've talked about it with verses. Clearly not those big numbers, but they also have big numbers. So we have to look at all these different opportunities. We may not have Super Bowl or versus opportunities, but we have the Super Bowl within our niche, Super Bowl within our market. And we have to look at those different opportunities and say, yo, how do I leverage this to the max? Like, and then also work on making the bag while I'm doing it. I think that's very, very important. So, yeah. But of course, when we go into this or that, we're still going to talk about Rihanna. Okay, we're still going to talk about it, but we have to talk about who is sponsoring this or that, and that's the flight assessment. This segment is sponsored by theflightassessment.com. Discover your personal superpower. Learn how to use your superpower to become a master communicator, strengthen all your relationships, and develop the self-awareness you need to fulfill your highest potential. That's flightassessment.com. And the question that I have is there such thing as having too much control in your business? Okay. Now, I found a clip. Well, it's a combination clip. So, of course, people have talked about a battle of Rihanna and Beyonce, but in the beginning years, Beyonce gave really good advice to Rihanna that has now clearly followed her to her billionaire status, which is have control. So let's see that.
She actually wrote me this cute little letter, and she signed it with her autograph. It was so cute. When I first met her, and she wrote, she was telling me, just let loose when you perform and just have fun and be in control.
So I really get involved with every aspect of anything that I do, whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's a makeup product, whether it's Savage lingerie, like whatever I do, I'm that annoying girl who's gonna talk about everything. I want to see the copy on the website. I want to name every lipstick that I make. Like I care about it. I love it.
So my question, because I struggle with this and not struggle with, I'm so like a control freak. I'm more of I trust you. I cannot micromanage, because I think of that as more of, if I'm all in let me see it, let me go through it, I think that's micromanaging for a sense, because if I have you in that position, I trust you. But if you mess up, I'm taking it over, right? I'm now checking on it on some, yo, what's up? Where is this? Oh my God. Like, so I wanted to bring it to this or that of what is the healthy version of having control still in your business when you're supposed to have, you know, executives, leadership situations, but is there such thing of having too much control?
Yeah, there is. There is. I think there is. And it really happens in different phases of the business, at least through my knowledge and experience. In the beginning, you want a lot more control because the risk is just way too high. When you're building in the beginning, sometimes margins are slim. There's very little room for error altogether. And so to give someone an opportunity to practice on your business, that's not the time to practice. You want to practice when you've strategically thought about an opportunity where someone can gain experience or leverage whatever knowledge or things that you have going on. Okay, at that point, sure. But in the beginning, you want to, especially in the areas that you're excelling in, take control, take complete control and run that thing. Now, at some point, you do want to relinquish control. And I think that's where the power of being able to delegate comes in. But it's interesting because, and I haven't been able to prove this just yet, but I truly believe that some CEOs that make a return, especially after they have been just completely cruise control, hands off, I'm not going to touch it, they do this, I don't want to call it mind trick, but that's the only way I can describe it, where they come back to intentionally almost trigger a competitive drive in you by messing up what you're doing. So it's like, I'm going to give you control, I'm going to take it back, and I want to see how you can respond. Now, I've seen that some people will say, okay, you've helped me see maybe opportunities to grow or do things differently by taking away something that I took for granted, right? To some extent, I can see that happening. So overall, I think there are seasons for it, but in the beginning, at least I'm going to talk about the beginning phase. And of course, I'm a control freak, so I think I got to put that out there as a disclaimer. So in the beginning, yeah, for sure.
And I'm not, as much as maybe my personality is, I'm really not. Like, I don't want to do all this work. I promise you I don't. Like, I'm big on, I'll do it first so I can understand it and then take it away. I don't want it. Okay? I promise you, I want to stay in one or two lanes. Give me, options. But one or two lanes, and that's it. Please take all this other stuff away. But at the same time, it's like, I'm definitely more on the hands off. Like, I trust you. Go. Yeah. Like, I don't like people, and maybe this was the Navy side of me, where I don't like somebody over my shoulder checking and checking and checking and checking and checking. You don't trust me. Like, this doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy, like, oh, you're paying attention to me. Oh, you're making sure that I'm getting it right. Oh my God, we're all succeeding. No, I don't feel that way. I feel like you're trying to control me and you can do it. Right. You do it. If you don't, you do it. So I never wanted to be that type because I hated it. But there is also a sense of where, because I'm so hands off, to some, more for my introverts, where, okay, I didn't know you wanted that. I didn't know I had the power to do that. I didn't know. So I'm now trying to find a happy medium of where I'm giving you control, saying, hey, you have control. This is yours. Hello, do what you need, and then come to me if there's any clarification that you may need that I could give to you. I don't want you to guess or assume, and I don't want to assume that you know that you have full control, right? And so I'm trying to find a balance with it, but oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's why I say in the beginning, I think it's easier for me to take control, because the big disappointing thing is to relinquish control, or let's say it this way, that someone wants control but they don't want the responsibility. That I find it very difficult.
I'm about to run. You just touched my heart on that one.
Yeah, I find that very difficult, because I notice there's a different level of, and I don't think it's like an actual ownership thing, and but I mean like the owner of the business. I think it's just I don't know. I don't know if it's when you care about your own last name or your own reputation. I think it's a reputation thing, because for me, I take ownership over things that I don't own, quote unquote, on paper. But because my reputation is attached to it, I never want anyone to say, oh yeah, Moose just makes excuses when things go wrong. Ever. I don't care what happened. If my name was put on it and I said, I got you, if it goes, I don't care what happens. So what happened? That's my bad. I'll take care of it. You get me? Because I want the control, but I want the control because I'm willing to take the ownership, or I'm willing to take responsibility when things go wrong. Not so much when things go right, because when things go right, everyone wants it. That's the easy part. Ain't nobody fighting when things go right. But it's about when things go wrong. That's the part that makes it hard for me to say, all right, cool, take it. Don't worry about it. Because when that comes up, everyone be like, what you mean? Looking around as if they wasn't just asking for control. So yeah, that's my stance on it, Nix. This
is going to get into an after show conversation. Oh man. Cause it's like,
now you know what's coming.
Yeah. This is conversations we have on the after show, to be honest with you. Slight plug. But no, I that's you hit that so clearly where it makes sense now, right? And as simple, and it's so funny because it's like the simple things give such aha moments. Like, what? And like, not like I haven't heard it before, right? But it's more like I'm going through it now to where it's like, yeah, I want this. It's my department. It's me. Okay, here's all that it goes with. Oh, hold on.
Crazy.
Wait, I don't have time. I didn't know this was part. No. We all knew this was part of it. What? The responsibility, like the name and the responsibility goes hand in hand. Not just the name. I don't know anybody who just is like, I am the head of this. And I do nothing but say that I am the head of this. No.
Ta-da.
No. Nobody. It always comes with responsibilities. Don't ask for it if you're not ready for the responsibilities. And if you can't stand the responsibilities, please ask for help. Please give it up. Please do not have the rest of us people looking crazy because you did not know the full detail of this responsibility of being in these different positions. Yes, people, I'm personally going through it, but it's all right because we may talk about this on the after show.
Yeah, and just lastly, I'll say this. If you're going to give it up, please give it up before things go wrong.
No, it never happens that way. What are you talking about? That is a funny request.
Can you just please one time say, you know what? Listen, I'm in over my head. I messed up. I messed up. You know what? I think I'm sinking right here. Let me just do the right thing and say, take it back. I don't want control. It's not for me. Not right now. I wish that would happen more often.
Wait, but so here we go, right? Here we go. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it real quick. So what if you had, and this is where I think the leadership part gets tested, meaning as maybe the person who is higher on the chain, looking as it goes down, but it's not completely, like you said, it's not completely on fire, right?
Yeah.
But
Smoking.
it's
Some smoke.
You know what I mean? Like smoke alarms are off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't know if it's a false one, changing batteries. We don't know what's happening. But clearly there's a problem. Do you take it away before there's a fire, which then causes some turmoil of the whole no trust? I feel the downplay, all that stuff. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You're in harm's way of messing up that work relationship, right? Or you allow the thing to burn down and then try to put water on it and rebuild.
No, I can't stand that. I can't stand that. You know why? Because, for two reasons. Number one, and that's why I said it's all about context. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm learning. Life, business, everything, it's all about context. When you take advice from people, when you're learning strategies and principle, please learn the context that goes along with whatever that it is that you're learning, because that matters. You can use the right principle at the wrong time and get the wrong outcome. You're like, man, but what happened? So-and-so said this. Yeah, but did you apply it in the context around which they said that needed to be used? And so when I say in the beginning, I'm not about to protect how you feel when the business is on the line. Like in the beginning, losses are limited. Right. You have a select lifespan. You know, like in those video games where you get like 3 lives and X amount of lives. In the beginning, you probably got like 1.5, 2. Like you got just a couple that you might be able to slip by. As you get better and you survive more and more, depending on the game that you're playing, you might have an opportunity or a project that's almost, I don't want to say a throwaway project, but you can allow someone to learn. For me personally, I found out that it's not a one size fits all. Some people like to learn by doing. And so maybe they don't want to be told that they're failing and that the smoke alarms are going off. But I want to test their awareness. Even if that's what you are. It's like, okay, I know you like to do things on your own. You don't want nobody to interrupt. But are you aware that the smoke signal is on? Like, do you see the smoke signal right now? Are you seeing the blinking light? I just want to make sure. Because sometimes some people when you're in the zone, you black out. You don't see what's happening around you.
Right.
So I think that matters. But for me personally, and just to bring my experience into it, if I'm doing something wrong, I want to be told. Now, if it's gotten to the point where you say, listen, it's gotten so far, I just don't think you have what it takes to bring us back. Like we're drifting too far into the deep end, and I don't think that you're going to be the one to bring us back to the shore. It's going to sting. Don't get me wrong. That's going to hurt, right? That's somebody saying, hey, I thought you were the leader, but in this case, I just don't think that you have what it takes to save the ship. That hurts. But again, you got to take it. You know, you got to take that hit and bounce back. But I wouldn't want someone to let me die and come back and be like, man, I definitely saw, I knew you was going to die. And you didn't say nothing? Like you saw me just fighting for my life.
Dying.
Spitting water out, everything, and nothing. So you should have told me. You should have told me what was on the other end of that. So that's why for me, I don't like that part. Yeah.
So, okay. So what if you see the person like drowning and then you provide like life rafts and like the little donut stuff, right?
I love how we just went swimming right now.
Right,
Everybody's
right.
in the ocean with us right now. We need
We're in the
some
ocean. We're in the
water
ocean.
sounds.
You see it, like you're swimming, you get a little exhausted. You see the exhaustion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go and like, hey, yo, keep an eye out, right? Keep an eye out because they're getting tired, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then hit the, okay, dying a little bit. Not dying all the way, but can't, I'm tired. And then you hit the light, because I feel right now, the life raft has been provided.
It's in the water.
It's in the water to do
Ladies
the
and
carrying.
gentlemen, the life raft is in the water.
The life raft is in the water to do the carrying. Like, don't worry.
Right.
We got this, right? But I just feel the word of disappointment that
it's heavy.
It's heavy.
No. But let me tell you why I go back to saying you can't give complete control, or you can't give up your control. It's because if you give up your complete control, it feels, even if it's not a super emergency, just the fact that you came back in, it's alarming. It's like, whoa, you was on not control mode, and you just jumped in with control mode. Something's wrong, right? Because that's the connection that's made. But if you have always some level of control, and maybe tighter control in other areas versus a little control or somewhat control, when that starts to happen, we can immediately reset by agreeing on targets. And that's what I love about this. Well, if we agree, it's not just enough to say, oh, no, I'm with you, you're right, the smoke signals is on. Okay, cool. What are the next 3 milestones? What are the next 3 things we need to do to at least get the smoke signals out? And by when?
Okay.
Because you feel me? Because now, if we come back a second time after those 3 things have not been hit, it's no bueno. We gotta now I gotta really reel you in with the you know the Navy more than I do, but whatever is more specialized than the raft, like we gotta really go in.
Listen, this is the closing of Moose's business therapy.
There you go. Good at this thing. Love that thing.
We will send you an invoice. AKA, he's going to send an invoice to me, because yes, I have needed that, but that was a good this or that. And yes, we may go a little bit into it on the after show. We may not. I don't know. You got to go and subscribe to the after show, which is only on Apple Podcasts, to be part of the All Access Squad. So go definitely check that out. Of course, every Friday, 6 a.m. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeart, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We have a new audio-only situation called Creator Ave, okay, which is the intersection between branding and business. And it is literally your how-to on to do some things with your brand, to build it to turn into an empire. It's a whole vibe, 6 a.m. every Friday. Go check that out. Let us know what you think about it. Follow us on all social media platforms at Nicky and Moose. Definitely help us get our YouTube numbers up. So definitely go check out the full episodes and the clips. Moose, final words.
Yeah, I read this week, man. It said most people would learn from their mistakes if they weren't so busy denying them. And most people would learn from their mistakes if they weren't so busy denying them. And I wish people would understand that denying your mistake won't make it evaporate. It won't just disappear. It's like, it's more important to make the adjustment than sit there trying to hide the fact that you made the mistake.